Hey, it's Mazzy. Welcome back. Prog music. Mazzy's talking about prog. I'm talking about Yes. I'm going to do a dive into the Yes albums I have and what I like about and what I don't like about Yes and prog music. There is, at the end of this, a link to an older video I did. I think it was something, paraphrasing now, a introduction to prog for people who don't like prog, people new to prog. I don't remember, but I got more kickback from that. It's apparently that video proved by the comments that prog fans rarely have a sense of humor. They don't get it. Now, I will say Bill Bruford is not on this album because I was under the impression that Bill Bruford is on every prog record ever made, or at least every other prog record ever made. But he's not on this one. Now, this is going to be first my review, or at least my take on the new Rhino High Fidelity, all analog, kept by Kevin Gray from the Master Tapes, at least the American masters that Warner Music Group and Rhino has in their possession. This is the 1974 album Relayer. This is an album that I had, and this is one of 2,000 albums out of my 6,000 albums I had in 1995 that I purged because of the CD era. And so I won't be A-Bing this. This is not a comparison video to another pressing, to original pressing, to a UK pressing. But this is the analog cut of Relayer, of course, with that wonderful, beautiful artwork. This is amongst my favorite. I like the monochromatic silver tint to this. And as you know, obviously you have the Obi here. Now this says limited number edition. I'm going to do a video soon about limited editions because I think people don't understand the wording here. Limited number edition of 5,000. That does not mean they're not going to do more editions. I worked in the photo industry, in fine art world. Limited edition is just that. That edition is limited. There might be 10 other editions. There might be an edition that comes out 3 years later. There might be a colored edition. There might be an unnumbered edition. So let's just get that out of the way right now. Eventually I'll do more of a deeper dive on that. So buy the records because you like the music, not because they're rare. If you want to flip them, there's a lot of better things to invest in than records. So I feel I have no sympathy for people who are bitching about, oh my God, I bought it as a limited edition and it's not limited. I see unnumbered copies in stores now. And seen. Anyway, the beautiful packaging that Rhino's doing. These are for $40. Now, I think these are amongst the best rock and roll based series that are coming out that Rhino's doing. I did buy this. I ordered it. I paid for it with my money. It arrived 6 days after I ordered it. Unscathed, perfect shape, well packaged. I know that's been an issue in the past. These are gatefold. And of course, the Rhino High Fidelity has the obligatory extra insert with the tape box. And a wonderful essay by Sid Schwartz. I don't even know why I show this. You can't read that from there, but obviously pictures of the band at the time. So I want to tell you about this, and then I'm going to talk about my Yes collection. So I want to get this out of the way because I think most people are waiting for the take on the new thing. But since I'm not comparing this to an earlier edition, you'll just get my take on what I like and why I like it. The only other label that's really doing the great thing is the sister label, obviously, the Acoustic Sounds Atlantic 75 series. That are $60. These are $40. I prefer 33s. I have not bought any of those. I hear the 75s are fabulous. This particular Yes album is not part of the Atlantic 75. I think 2 other albums are, which is great. But I am a person of 33s, believe me. If there's a 33, I don't care how slightly better it may sound. And if you're not comparing, you're not going to know the difference anyway. And I survived for 60 plus years buying records at 33. Oh my God, now that they're 45. And it's not the laziness of getting up and flipping it, but in this case, you'd cut a song in half. And I think some of these prog-like albums that are coming out in the 45 format, or jazz for that matter, they cut it in half, and it to me wrecks the intention of the artist and the producer. There is one insert that has the lyrics of this, and I love that, this record I was familiar with, but not really familiar with, or not, it wasn't a Yes album that I know, just really, really well. I love that there's an environmental overtone, which, he did do that on Tales of a Topographic Ocean the year before. And to me, that album is the one that almost single-handedly ruined prog for me. I'm a Yes fan. I'm a Yes man. And in a way, Yes was my first prog introduction in 1969, in that spring of 1969. And it almost ended my enjoyment of prog because it got bloated and over top. I mean, that year, 1973, the beginning of the year, Yes Songs, a 3 LP set. I don't even know why I kept that, but I have this over bloated live record of Yes Songs from 1973. And then later that year, they do that Tales of a Topographic Ocean 2 record set. Oh my God, what a piece of work that was. But I appreciate John Anderson and the rest of the band's, overview and interest and thematic thing of climate things before climate change was the thing, in terms of whales and wars and things. And it's just the irony is that some prog fans don't even believe in climate change, and but they still like what these guys are saying. But I love this record more than I thought I would, having played it now 3 times since it came out. I tell you, there is a lot of mid-range and bass in this record. The high ends are there, but it's not a bright album by any stretch of the imagination. Again, I'm not comparing it to any other version, but it was a great listen. I love this long piece that has some intensity. Of course, this is the year or after Rick Wakeman leaves the band, goes solo, does Too Many Wives of Henry VIII and Journey to the Center of the Earth. Talk about bloated records. That is bloated. They get Patrick Moraz on this. No, again, as I said, no Bill Bruford. You got Alan White, who's on half, or not even half, but a portion of that live album Yes song. So you no more Bill Bruford, but you have a great. There's a great guitar interplay between Steve Howe and Patrick Moraz, which I really like. And it gets intense at times, but there is a beauty to it. Gone are really the acoustic guitars of Fragile and some of the other Yes albums, which I really adore. I really kind of miss that a little bit. But this is a different take. The electronics on here are nicely balanced, I think, and they sound really good. And then you get in that beauty at the end of side 1 where it gets in more of a mellower state with John Anderson's vocal. It's a beautiful song. That is the entire side 1, 22 minutes, The Gates of Delirium. Perfect song for a prog album, right? I mean, look at this artwork. To me, if I had any, I don't put Dean's artwork in my house, but this would be it. I like the monochromatic black and white, silver and white cover. This is my favorite Yes album cover, almost like sketches of Yes, sketches of the deep world of delirium. Relayer. What a great typeface, too, that Roger Dean has designed here and worked on. I just love this. That is part of the artistic wonderment of Yes. I love it. Now, the balance here of the way Kevin cut this is really It's really interesting. There's a lot of dynamics in this record, and this record has a lot of musical dynamics. So it's really wonderful to have that. The bass is not too heavy, but it's there. You hear it. Again, I'm not comparing to any other version. This is a success. Now, I'm coming again. I am not a Yes devotee where I know everything, but I grew up listening to these records. This record came out when I was working in record stores, so this got played a shitload back in 1974 when it came out. There's always at least one person that works in a record store that's all in on Prog and in on the Scorpions. I know that's more the German thing, but there's that Scorpions guy, and there's the Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, King Crimson person, and I was that person who played these records a lot at the time, but I almost let this one go. I kind of gave Yes a second chance after that disastrous year of 1973. From my point of view, I know that's not everyone. This guy over here likes it, and he's probably has multi copies of Tales from a Topographic Ocean. what a piece of crap that album is. But this is the better album. So they redeemed themselves for me. They scaled it back in terms of, the whole multi thing of multi records. Emerson, Lake and Palmer did it too live. And, it just got to be, and thank God punk came along in 1977. That's all I say. But those albums killed it for me the year before. And I kind of got this, but again, I purged it. So successful, yes. And there hasn't been an audiophile. Again, I'm not all in on audiophile releases, but as far as I know, there's never been an audiophile version of this since this album came out. So to me, this is a welcome release from Rhino Hi-Fi. Now, those of you who came here just for Relater, see you later. Bye. I want to share my Yes experience going back to 1969, the spring, as I recall. My buddy Larry and I would take the streetcar downtown San Francisco, hop on the cable car, go up Powell Street, get off at Fisherman's Wharf. We'd go to Tower Records, and a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, we went to K-San Studios, KMPX K-San. It begat K-San, the first of the underground FM radio rock stations. Tom Donahue started in San Francisco. And at this point, it was in like this upstairs brick warehouse right near Fisherman's Wharf, right adjacent to Fisherman's Wharf. And we knew about it. And we basically, on a Saturday, would go down there, and we were, 14 years old, 15 years old. We just walk in the door. There was no receptionist in those days. Maybe during the week there were more, people, salespeople and Tom Donahue. But all there was, you'd walk up the warehouse and it'd be this empty building with no walls, like open brick beams up on top, wooden beams, and a little DJ booth. And a lot of times the door was wide open. And we went in at one point and saw Dusty Street, the DJ, who eventually I think would go to LA, one of the early famous female DJs, very popular in San Francisco in the late 60s into the early 70s. And this guy, Larry DeLine was a DJ. And Larry and I walked in, door was wide open, and we walk in, and he goes, "Hey, come on in." And it wasn't like the days of, the security guard and everything. And, the DJ's getting high the whole bit, playing long songs. And he was there, and he had a pile of records. And he goes, I don't remember what he was playing, but he says, "I got these 2 young cats here." And he says, let's try a new record. Let's pick up a new record. So he pulls a record out of the pile, and this is the record he pulls out. It just came out in the stores. I think, I might be misremembering if I got it that day or I went back and got it. It might have been an advanced copy. I don't remember. But he pulls this out, this band, Yes. He didn't really know anything about it. We didn't know anything about it. And he goes, "Is there a track you want to hear on it?" So I'm looking at the record, and I see they cover a Beatles song, Every Little Thing. I put it on. And then at the end, he comes on the air after he plays the song and asks us what we thought. We liked it, because even then I used to say, if you're going to cover a song, especially a Beatles song, do it your way. They did it their way. Once I got it, I learned to love other songs of this album. The other great cover is I See You, a song written by Jim McGuinn and David Crosby, of course, Roger McGuinn. It's a Byrds song. I know that song from the Byrds album, but when I heard that, it's a totally different version. I remember liking this album enough to buy it. To me, this was my introduction to prog. We didn't call it prog. All of a sudden, writers and Rolling Stone were talking about progressive rock, a little different. But what I like about this, it's more song-based. I'm a big fan of great songwriting and song-based things. And That's where prog sometimes falls flat for me. They get on these elongated virtuoso demonstrations of how many time changes I can play, how many bass solos and drum solos and things. Now I'm kind of kidding in a way, but I'm not really. Yin yang here. I love that. It's like jazz, obviously. You could say the same about jazz. Everyone's doing their solo, everyone's doing that thing, but getting back to melody is important for me. And this has it, and I love this. Now, some time later, when I saw this in the import section of Tower Records, I grabbed this up. This is the UK cover. I think it's far superior than this. Now, I suppose in the American audiences, everybody wanted to see a bunch of hippies in a band on the cover of a record, that thing. But this is a killer cover, right? I mean, come on, you can't deny that. This is my UK copy. I don't know if it's an original pressing. I probably got it a year or two after I got the other record. But I love this record. Of course, there was, I don't remember if it was a record store day or one of the Rocktober type of months that Rhino put out, a Kevin Gray cut, which is excellent. I haven't A-B these in a while. I like Kevin Gray's cuts on most of his things, and this is excellent. I think in these type of records, this is probably a fuller, richer record on most modern systems, but it depends which version you have. I do prefer the UK copy over the American copy, but I don't think I've done an honest version of this. You have this interior there, that photograph, again, same thing, but I love this cover. What a great cover. Then I was all in on Yes, and I got this. This might be my favorite Yes album because this is where they really start that, quote, prog sound we have. Now, I never got the second album. I don't have the second album. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. I don't have it. And I don't think I've ever heard it for some reason. And I know there was then also there was a different American cover than a UK cover, so I probably should check it out. It might be that bridge from real song-based thing to getting into this virtuoso jamming and playing. But to me, this is the perfect blend of songwriting, of melody, and the virtuoso espialidocious jamming they kind of do. I love the songs on here. Of course, Yours Is No Disgrace, yes, The Clap. Starship Trooper was always a favorite of mine. That sweet. And I See All Good People. I think I See All Good People was a single and was the song that really got me to go buy this record. I wasn't necessarily in these days, in the early 70s, 1970s, 1972, buying every record of every artist. Very few. The Beatles, Byrds, related, Dylan, there's probably a handful of others. Yes wasn't necessarily a band. But in 1969, going back to that early prog thing, that fall I also bought was what was probably my second ever prog album, which was In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. I didn't know anything about that. I bought the cover, and then I started hearing FM radio in San Francisco. K-Stan would play that long suite, which I loved. And of course, the next album I got was the debut Emerson, Lake and Palmer with Lucky Man. Those are the three keys for my prog life, for my intro to prog, and I absolutely love those records. I like this cover with this kind of infrared photography. There's one live track on here. I think it's a Steve Howe song. Yeah, recorded live, The Clap. But I've seen All Good People, and that's sweet. And of course, there's a beautiful song by Anderson, A Venture, and then the end bit by Squire and Anderson, Perpetual Change, which is great. To me, this is what prog albums should be for my taste. Great songwriting. You got your suites, your multi-layered stories, in essence. You got your jamming, your virtuoso playing. I love there's some acoustic guitars on here too. In fact, that live cut, that's what that is. Almost like a bluesy song in a way. And then, of course, what some people consider their best album, and I do love this album, is Fragile. And to me, the acoustic guitars, this is a good record to do comparisons on because I do have the original and I think in the last decade, I don't know what year it came out, there's a Kevin Gray cut. Supposedly this is all analog as well. This is excellent. They're slightly different. I almost give it to the original first. There's a certain purity of that. It's a little brighter, but not overly bright, so it's maybe snappier than the Kevin Gray cut. But if I wasn't playing this back to back, and I did last night play these back to back, just to remind myself, this is probably a warmer record, the Kevin Gray cut, over the original, but either one would suit. It's hard to get a quiet copy of this now. There's so many copies used, and I kept this one, luckily, and mine's in good shape. But I have a friend who was visiting a number of years ago, and we bought like 3-4 copies the week he was staying with me, Coleman, my buddy Coleman, and every copy was kind of noisy. Finally, he found one when he got home, but we tried different copies because you can really tell on that acoustic guitar at the beginning here. But this is a wonderful record. There's so much in here. This could be my number one. I'm giving it a slight number two to the Yes album, but I think Fragile is an excellent album. And this, to me, this is the best of what prog can be without being overly excessive. And then, of course, as I said, in 73, I did buy Yes Songs, that big, bloated 3-record live set. Oh my God, it's way too much. And then I remember getting, and I got an import. We got imports in the store, I remember, the same time, of Tales from a Topographic Ocean. So I probably had a first press of that album, and we played it in the store, and my head exploded. I just couldn't stand it. Over the, almost 50 years since that point, 50 years, 2 other times I've rebought that album used and tried to get through it, and I can't stand it. I'll close out this with finally in the 80s during the MTV years. You know, they had a Rebirth with this Trevor Horn produced album, 90125. Not my zip code, by the way. Is it anybody's zip code? I don't even know. This is an electronic pop album. This is a great album. This is song-based. This is great songs. Totally different band, really. I mean, you got Alan White still and Chris Squire and John Anderson. Then they got Trevor Rabin and Tony Kaye. And then Trevor Horn joined. I really didn't follow them. So again, you're watching this and you're saying, you know, Mazzy, you don't know what that's about. You don't know anything about Yes. I'm just talking about my personal experience with Yes. These are real experiences at the time of conception of these records. I like this because I think Owner of a Lonely Heart has one of the greatest hooks and combination of electronic 80s beats and effects, and it's a great pop song. Is it the Yes of 1973? No. I mean, you got John Anderson's voice, and that is the kicker there. That's the thing, you know, most of us love. A lot of us love. And of course, we like all the drummers. We like Bill Bruford. We like Alan White. We like those drummers. And it's great that I have finally learned that Bill Bruford is not on every album, every prog album ever. So that's the Yes thing. I would say if you are a fan of Relayer, order this album, this Rhino High Fidelity, get it. Now, I'd like to, I'll keep an eye open for people who are actually doing an A-B to original US and original UK. What I understand, I've spoken to a few people. I know a lot of people I know prefer the American Relayer over the UK Relayer. But again, that's from hearsay, only a rumor. And I don't want to start rumors here on my channel. So thanks for watching. Mazzy loves you. I should go on for 20 minutes like a prog song.